Hey Zen fam, it's me back again. So, yesterday, my awesome comrade in arms, Wingy Gaming, put out a wee video as he surges back into being a gaming YouTube commentator. Well done, sir. In his video, he basically sort of came with the question, why the hate? Why the hate so much to Xbox? After all, it launched way back in 2013, and although it has sold, and sold in respectable numbers, it obviously has not sold to quite the same extent as the PlayStation 4. I mean, the PlayStation 4, as we are all now very much aware, I'm sure, has sold over 91 million units. That is impressive. That's unprecedented. Okay? I mean, it's what now? It's early 2019. And most analysts are of the opinion that it will, with fairly soon, be able to breach the, the 100 million mark. Especially once, PlayStation 5 is launched, because it will easily drop by £100. Possibly $100. I don't know, but anyway, it's gonna drop, and the drop I reckon will be significant. But Wingy did say, why the hate? I mean, considering the services that Xbox has put out. I mean, it's got the backwards compatibility, good thing. It's got the Games Pass, so you pay a monthly subscription, and you get access to tons of stuff. You can have games. Just absolutely mental amount of things. And you've got the controllers. I mean, the Elite controller for the Xbox One is a lovely item. You've got 3 separate model variants. You can have your bog standard one, you can have your S, you can have your Scorpio, which is just like well, mainly Xbox One X, but the Scorpio model of that. It was called Scorpio in the developments. Blah blah blah. Anyway, so you got these 3 models, each one more powerful than the last. You've got a controller that a lot of people really love. Me personally, I like this because I like how it's all symmetrical. I love symmetrical controllers. The Xbox One, because it's not symmetrical, throws me off. If the Xbox had a symmetrical controller and I had the money for an Xbox, that'd be the controller I would go for. That's just how my brain works. I like a symmetrical controller. But that's me. You're you. And people like what they like. So, it's all good, really. So, in that vein, you have to ask, why? And to be honest, I think some people going, well, never forget them for the DRM is probably a tired excuse now. Yes, it was valid for the first 2-3 years, but Microsoft has moved past that. And they've added a lot of services. They've added a lot of stuff. Yes, okay, they keep fiddling with the UI, and are a fair amount of Xbox users themselves who are dissatisfied with how the UI works. The TV functionality has gone up and down, round and round. It's never truly been stable. The voice communications are great. The integration with their own personal streaming service for the games, not being reliant on Twitch technology, having their own in-house streaming setup is a lovely thing. I don't know how well it works, being as I don't have an Xbox. But then again, if I had the money, yes please, because there are a lot of games on Xbox I would really like to play. I think what it's come down to is it's just the stigma. It's not the one that's grabbed the imagination of the public. PlayStation grabbed the imagination early on, and that ball kept on rolling. And of course, there is also the factor of it is perceived to not be the exclusives machine. It'll do console exclusive, Yeah, but that's a game that's also on PC, and that's one of the things that hurt Xbox is gamers will go, well, I've got a PC, and all the Xbox stuff is coming to PC. Why would I bother getting an Xbox? And that has hurt them in sales. And it's all just back and forth, left and right. So I don't think there's any clear-cut reason to why Xbox has garnered the hate. It's unfortunate, and I think now not deserved. But what I would like to say is, I for one, as a PlayStation fan, thank Xbox because, and this is going to sound controversial, I think Xbox made PlayStation lift their game. Xbox came out in the beginning and said, we're doing all this DRM stuff. Now the rumours have always been that PlayStation was planning on doing the same thing. But they saw the reaction, the visceral public reaction to Microsoft's DRM program. And then what did they do? They came out at that E3 and went, this is how you share your games. And the public went mental. The reaction was seismic, you know. And instantly, PlayStation was able to establish this as being the good guys, you know. And that was a big shift, and that was important to Sony. And they would not have made that if Microsoft had not done that. And I think, you know, it's also going to change PlayStation 5. Because now that Microsoft have done the backwards compatibility, you know, I think this will mean that PlayStation 5, it's part of the reason why I believe that system will back compat to at least the PlayStation 4 and possibly have emulation for the rest of the Sony back catalogue. Now, whether or not we'll get PlayStation 1 games is another issue because of the PlayStation Classic. But given that the PlayStation Classic has been such a monumental failure, I mean, considering right now, in shops, at least on the other side of the Atlantic, it is dropped to less than half price. And it's not shifting off shelves. So I think that even if Sony had planned to not put PlayStation 1 backwards compatibility in, I think they might be programming it in. Considering that PlayStation 2 could do it, PlayStation 3 originally could do it. So I'm thinking that it's going to be fully backwards compatible for the rest of the library. And if they do that, then my God, at that point they'll be able to pull on over 25 years worth of gaming history. All because Microsoft went, let's do backwards compatibility, we got to catch up with Sony. Because it's always tit for tat, it's always war for war. One does it, the other does it, and they push each other forward. That's why it's important, vitally important, that Xbox survives and stays in the game. Okay? Because let's face it, right? If Microsoft had come and just gone, right, with every step being correct, if they hadn't done the DRM, if they'd done everything correct, as some would put it, then Sony wouldn't have bothered with PlayStation 5. Sony is the kind of company that if it doesn't work, they don't stick with it. Case in point, the Vita. I adore the Vita. I love my OLED Vita. The Vita is great. But it was a failure. Undeservedly so. It was a great system. But it was an overly expensive system with functionality that didn't make sense at the time. And memory cards. Oh my God, the memory cards. Oh Jesus. Those memory cards. That's what really killed the Vita when we get right down to it. Because they ran on SD technology, but they were proprietary, and the expense of them was insane. Absolutely batch. You know, it really was. Oh! And if Microsoft had come out on top, then I firmly believe that not only would PlayStation have stopped at PlayStation 4, I don't think they would have bothered spending as much on research and development, and we probably would not have even got PlayStation VR. I really honestly believe that. Things like PlayStation Vue and PlayStation Now, they wouldn't have happened because Microsoft pushed themselves into that little corner and made Sony go, right then, they went for the jugular. So, although it was unfortunate for Microsoft to end up where they ended up, in essence, it made Sony go that much harder, that much deeper. So I thanks Microsoft, not so much for making a mess of it, but for making it so that Sony went, hey, we could really do something here. And they did. And it's made it so the point now that Microsoft themselves, for the next generation, are going, right, let's chuck everything at this. And Microsoft and Sony are going, right, let's chuck everything at this. So the next generation is probably going to be super interesting. Maybe not for graphical enhancement, because how far much further can we really truly go with the next gen? You know, it's looking pretty much as spanky as it possibly can, because, you know, okay, we'll get the frame rates up and we'll get the resolution up, but there's not much more room for improvement. But if the services improve, you know, and the level of fidelity improves, and, you know, everything just gets better, and the systems themselves get smarter and can do more, then wow. So thank you, Microsoft. Even though you made a mess of it, you actually made gaming better because of it. So that's what I think. That's what I believe. You may not agree with me, but all I can say to you is rate, favourite, comment, share, subscribe, and of course, as always, I nae bother.